The Seattle Police Department is still far away from its hiring goal of 30% women represented in its annual hiring class. Spencer Polly with the Center Square is here with more. Spencer, can you give us a briefing on the data you found?
Sure. So to start off, I reached out, I sent a FOIA, I should say, to find out some of the demographics of the hiring candidates that Seattle Police Department's hiring. They have a lot of goals to basically have a more diverse police department. And what I found was interesting to say the least. So last year, Seattle Police Department was able to see a 139% increase in the number of candidates going to their final phases of the hiring process over 2023. Now, that is a success for a lot of city leaders. However, there's still some work to be done, especially with recruiting women, as they only made up 10% of the 2024 candidates. Now, this goes back to what you were just brought up there, the 30 by 30 initiative, which is the city's goal to increase representation of women in police recruiting classes to 30% by the year 2030. Now, that 10% statistic there has been about the same for like the past 4 years or so. So there's still some work to be done there. And when it comes to recruiting women and achieving this goal that the city is set out to do.
You spoke to some of the city's leaders. What did they have to say about the data?
I was definitely curious to hear what they had to say about this. So I first reached out to Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell's office for a comment about this and to show him the statistics. And what I heard back from the office was that the mayor is still committed to recruiting women, of course, and that the city's current budget, the 2025-2026 budget, dedicates staffing towards this goal alone. So this is still on the minds of the mayor himself. I also reached out to Seattle City Council member Bob Kettle, who is the chair of the Public Safety Committee, and he's been doing a lot of work to increase police recruitment and staffing, as this is an issue in general for the city. Seattle Police Department staffing levels are at its lowest since the 1990s, I believe, from what I've recovered in the past. Now, when I talked to him about this over a phone call, he was telling me that he's optimistic that statistics can improve. He is also just saying that the city needs to do better at recruiting women. But one of the positive statistics he can come after is passing these bills that he did last year, or the Seattle City Council passed last year. And this includes incentivizing recruits and making SPD more desirable, whether it's increasing bonuses for lateral or new recruits. So that's why you see the 139% increase in candidates. Now, the next thing we need to see is the increase in women. And that's one thing that Kettle says next on the step. But so far, he's saying thumbs up for the number of candidates at least. So maybe next year and this year, we'll see more statistics in the better direction for women.
Yeah, I know many cities have struggled recently with recruiting and increasing their police forces. Um, do they think that the incoming police chief will help with these statistics?
That's key right there, and that's what both Mayor Harrell and Councilmember Bob Kettle was telling me is that a lot of the optimism comes from this new fresh face for the Seattle Police Department. That's incoming Police Chief Sean Barnes, who was most recently the police chief in Madison, Wisconsin. He has yet to take his first day, but that's soon to happen either later this month or early in February. Now, one key statistic I think to note from his accomplishments at Madison is he able to have a police department that consisted of 28% women during his time there. And so I think that was one thing that is definitely considered during the hiring process for the Seattle Police Department and why he was ultimately chosen. So when we look at Sean Barnes, I think what we'll see here in the city is more optimism that what he can bring is more of a community that is inviting to women to bring them in, because one of the things the city wants here is diversity with the police department. And by that, I mean, you want officers who speak other languages and who can relate to different communities. And that includes women here. When we look at crime, it's not just a male issue here. There are women who also are getting called for police officers, whether they're on the streets causing some kind of public disturbance. But when you have a female officer on hand, it kind of helps in these situations, whether it's by relating with them more or just providing a different perspective. I think that's one thing that the police department and the city here are looking after. So we'll see in the future here whether we can get that statistics up from that 10% up to 30%. But from what I'm hearing is there is optimism, at least with just the number of candidates we're seeing.
Well, Spencer, thank you for your insights on this story. Listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com.